Thank you for staying with us, everyone. Tonight, we turn our focus to a critical pillar of national development, which is rail transportation, and the urgent conversation around revitalizing Nigeria's railway system. For decades, Nigeria's rail network has held enormous promise, erasing the pressure on our roads, reducing the cost of goods and services, boosting regional trade, enhancing passenger mobility, and strengthening economic integration. Yet challenges persist, ranging from infrastructure decay to modernization gaps. All these challenges have shaped the journey toward a fully functional rail system. Now we revised and renewed investments, ongoing rail mobilization and modernization projects, and growing public interest in safe and efficient mass transit. The big question is Nigeria's rail sector truly on track for transformation? Joining me to discuss this and more is the Managing Director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, Dr. Opeifa. Dr. Opeifa, good evening to you. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Good evening. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much for joining me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
All right. Once again, thank you for joining us. So let's begin with the big picture. It's been a year since you assumed office. What does revitalizing Nigeria's rail transport system mean under your leadership? After decades of rail investment funded by billions in loans, why is rail still not a dominant transport system in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying, yes, billions of dollars have been spent in recent times. And however, at the same time, a lot has been going on. Just a quick one, I'll make it very short. Between 1912 to 1960, Nigeria invested in rail and constructed about over 3,000 kilometers of roadway. Between that 1960 and 2015, we can hardly boast of a kilometer constructed. However, between 1915 and today, we have completed, started, and constructed close to 1,000 kilometers of railroad. So most of the billions you're hearing in recent time that has been invested in the rail sector might have accounted for the completion and the construction of new rail line. Now, under the current dispensation, we are focusing on moving forward rather than looking at what's happened in the past. So we have decided to optimize what we have, revive to inspire, and ensure that what we have works for us. At the same time, conclude on the 25-year strategic master plan, which focuses on the modernization. The error we made in the past was not moving into the standard gauge rail system early enough. This was postulated by Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who was the then premier of the Western region, in his book in 1970, where he posited that we need to quickly move to the standard gauge in order to meet up with the world, the direction the world is going. However, this did not start to materialize until 2015. And between that 2015 and today, we have removed rail from the exclusive list to the concurrent list. We have concluded Lagos-Ibadan, part of the Lagos-Kano standard gauge, 152 kilometers of railway, started and completed within 4 years. We have completed the Port Harcourt to Aba, the old Eastern Line. We have rehabilitated it, completed under this current administration, and that is on its way to Enugu and eventually to Maiduguri. We have also about going on linking all the rail lines to the port. That is in order to revive, to inspire. Beyond that, what we have also done is to bring a new system into play, where we have now completed the plan to have rails connected to all parts of Nigeria, and especially the economic corridors, so as to take advantage of what rail is supposed to do. So basically, let me say it this way. Even though some past years back, we've not been able to keep the traction that we started from in 1912, in the last 15 years, let me say since in the last 10 years, we have brought up reforms to revitalize, to reposition, and to ensure that the Nigerian rail system, the national rail system, works for us. It is also on this note that the national government is also partnering with the sub-nationals, such as in Kano, the Kano Metro, Kaduna, the Kaduna Metro, the Lagos Red Line, and in Plateau State, the revitalization of the narrow gauge. And very soon, you will soon be seeing the rail system coming back in areas like Zamfara, where we hope to take the Gusau line and take it right into the State University complex. All this we are doing at the level of the infrastructure. On the level of the soft aspect of the rail, we have now gone modernized. So we are now focusing on constructing standard gauge and using modern signaling technology to make sure we move. So that is where we are.
All right. But I'm also sure there were some structural failures you met on ground when you resumed that may have contributed to this years of decay in the railway system. But as we move forward, are there some institutional weaknesses still existing today that could cause a relapse?
I didn't get the question. You're talking about?
Because you asked us to move forward, and I mean, the truth is, it's not easy moving forward if you think about the years of decay in the railway system. And so I made reference to the fact that I'm sure you must have met some structural failures on the ground when you resumed office, which must have contributed to this years of decay in the railway system. So I'm also asking, are there some institutional weaknesses still existing today that could cause a relapse?
No. Right. We do not have institutional issues any longer. The downtime period was between 1960 to 2015. And from 2015, the government has consciously focused on the 25-year plan that was situated in 2002, but not properly implemented. Now, from that 2015 to when this government came in, that is 2023, what you have seen is the movement from exclusive to concurrent. That's an institutional issue, a structural issue is being removed. Now you are seeing states coming up. You have also seen a situation where the private sector have also developed more confidence based on the current reform of the going on within this administration. We are seeing a surge in logistics and supply chain companies showing interest in moving goods along the Lagos-Kano narrow gauge. We have also seen increase in the movement from the ports, especially the Lagos-Apapa port down to Ibadan. And also to note that was also completed under this administration. So all those bottlenecks have been removed. Right. So the major issue that we are focusing on now is to make sure that a new strategic master plan is put on the table, a new roadmap is established, and an institutional framework to ensure that rail transport system plays the role it ought to play within the economy. And you would notice also that in the last 1 year, all the GDP figures from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics specifically listed rail transportation within the 10 growth enablers within the economy. So we are on the right track. And what I'm saying is that we have put the past before us, we are moving forward.
All right. And I see that the NRC has increased the number of trips on its Abuja-Kaduna train service route. Is existing rail, first you have to talk to us about what informed that new decision, and second, is existing rail infrastructure capable of handling this increased frequency without accelerating wear and tear or risking breakdowns?
Seriously, what actually will happen from tomorrow is we are returning the Abuja-Kaduna train system to the old weekend schedule. Sometimes in March 28, 2022, there was a bomb blast that destroyed a complete diesel multiple engine set, and it was destroyed beyond repair, reducing the number of fleet on that corridor from 3 to 2. Then on August 26, 2025, last year, we had a derailment caused by over-speeding, not following due process by one of our drivers. And that also took away the main engine that drives that train and also destroyed about 6 of the 8 carriages. What that means is that we are now left with one train set on the Abuja-Kaduna line. Because of that, we were limited to 2 trips per day. Now, we have repaired the track. We commenced on October 1, 2025, and I can tell you as of today, that engine that got damaged has been fixed by Nigerian railway engineers and technicians. Also, the track was fixed by our engineers. So that particular engine, 2701, is now available to run. So that has given us an extra capacity to move on that corridor 3 times a day. So what it means is we are increasing the capacity to move people. There is a lot of complaint coming from that angle, which we also have to address. It's not that we just intentionally got back to 2. It has to be 2 because after an incident, you need to be careful. We introduce speed restrictions, temporary speed restrictions, and we're also still doing some repairs along the corridor. But right now, with effect from tomorrow, March 6th, Friday, we will be making 3 trips from Abuja to Kaduna and back from Kaduna to Abuja on Fridays, Saturdays, Sunday, and Mondays. While Tuesday and Thursday will remain 2 trips, and Wednesday will be the maintenance day until the other locomotive, the other train sets to make it dual will be there. And when that comes, people on that corridor may start witnessing the 6 to 12 trips on a single day.
All right. Just to be clear, Dr. Opeifa, what you're telling Nigerians tonight is that the NRC currently has enough functional train sets to sustain these additional trips without compromising maintenance schedules.
Yes, okay, I'll make it very clear.
Okay.
To run the train, you need one locomotive. But what we have done is that to run, we have decided we will use 2 locomotives to move the coaches. So beyond these 2 locomotives, we have also created a redundancy. So I want to make it clear, we have the required number of equipment to make these 3 trips.
All right. And you know, passengers also complain about delays and sudden schedule changes on the Abuja-Kaduna train. What has changed since you assumed office, and why has the system still struggled with reliability years after launch?
I'm not aware of a complaint about delays. Let me say, that corridor at takeoff from Abuja has 97% takeoff time accurately. And on return, has 93% takeoff time. So on the Abuja-Kaduna train, we have a good record of takeoff and depart. And I don't know any other airline system in Nigeria that has that kind of record. The corridor where we have issues of taking off at the exact time is the Warri-Itakpe corridor. And that is a corridor that is about over 360 kilometers. So what you have in that corridor is because of vandalism. We have to move cautiously. And on some occasions, or let me say, on few occasions, we have to slow down and make sure that we clear the line. The time you may have delayed takeoff on the Abuja-Kaduna is when we have minor issues which are operational but not technical. Operational and not technical. And within that, all these are less than 5%. And by record, even no airline system in Nigeria has that record. So we don't have record of takeoff time delays.
All right.
Our major area is on Warri-Itakpe.
Okay. We'll come back to the issue of vandalism in a moment. But for the purpose of transparency and accountability, let me ask you about this controversy surrounding the $3.38 billion in loan from China Exim Bank and counterpart financiers between 2015 and 2023. I mean, what we know is that Nigeria managed to add only 1,500 kilometers of rail nationwide, bringing the total coverage to about 5,000 kilometers. At the 10th National Assembly, led by Senate President Godswill Akpabio, then established a 12-member ad hoc committee headed by Senator Adams Oshiomhole. And the objective of that committee is to investigate the projects carried out under the late President Buhari's administration. They had 4 weeks to get back to the leadership of the Senate. So what updates do you have for Nigerians about that matter?
That's a National Assembly matter, and I think very soon, maybe I can't speak for them, immediately after the budget session, there will be ample time to present 3 billion dollars must have been spent. I wasn't part of the team as at that time, and I can't speak much to that. What I can speak much to is what has happened since I came into office, even though when you take this kind of responsibility, you take over all the assets and liabilities. But what I would say is that since 2023 and since I assumed office in 2025, I want to say that every kobo that has been given to us for the purpose of running the trade, every kobo that we have realized as part of our IGR, we have used judiciously, and we are in position to account for it, and we will account for it.
All right. Perhaps we'll try to get update from the National Assembly, but we also learned that the corporation's financial crisis got worsened when investigations revealed that 47 and former NRC officials allegedly siphoned about $1.67 million. Talk to us about this, and how could internal controls fail so badly that staff allegedly siphoned millions of dollars from an already struggling railway system?
I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of some people taking 1.6 billion or whatever billion of dollars. But I'm aware that there are issues before the anti-graft agencies, both the EFCC and the ICPC, and some of these issues have gotten to the level of the High Court, and I believe at this moment the matter remains sub judice, and we should allow the court system to really take for. But I can assure you that as far as we are concerned, under the current dispensation, we are cooperating with the anti-graft agencies, and on the issue that we are focusing on is to make sure that we remain focused, the staff remain focused, and we continue to deliver to the people of Nigeria what they expect the organization: regional integration, national integration, quality mobility services, supporting logistics and supply chain systems within Nigeria, ensuring that mobility comes as the lowest cost to the people, to ensure that mobility plays a good role within the GDP structure and the growth structure of Nigeria, and ensure that Nigerians and Nigeria has the full benefit for every naira, every kobo, every dollar that is spent on the Nigerian railway system. And that is also to add that what we are now doing is we are now doing value addition. We have gone beyond the rail system, just moving people from this to work. We have also created a situation where the rail system serves people with for experience basis. People can now enjoy tourism on our train. People can now enjoy entertainment on our train. People can now have events on our train, depending on different parts of the country and what the people expect to have. We are now railing with the state. We're encouraging state government. We partner with state government to make sure they use the national line, they use the national corridor built by the national resources for their people without costing so much. Currently, we are moving people from Jos Township to Bukuru on our way to Kuru at just 200 naira per trip, a trip that normally would cost 800 naira. That is what we are delivering. We are delivering the dividend of democracy. We are facilitating trade, and we are improving the standard of living by running on a system that produces less carbon emission compared to moving on the road. And where we have been operating, we have also seen that we're also contributing to the security architecture of Nigeria. That is our focus. Our focus is to look ahead, learn from the past, use the past to think and plan, but focus on what we ought to achieve, and that is our goal.
But Dr. Opeifa, realistically, is the Nigerian railway system currently financially sustainable, or is it heavily dependent on subsidy? And I'll allow you to answer that question when we return from this break. Please stay with us, everyone, and when we return, this conversation continues on our other platforms. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us, everyone. Tonight on the program, we're focused on revitalizing Nigeria's rail transport system. How close are we to delivering a modern, reliable railway network for Nigerians? And I've been speaking with the Managing Director, NRC, Dr. Kayode Opeifa. Dr. Opeifa, thank you very much for staying with us on the program. So is Nigeria's railway system currently financially sustainable, or are we heavily subsidy dependent? So what is your roadmap for making rail operations commercially viable without making fares unaffordable for Nigerians?
Yeah, thank you very much. All over the world, let me say this first. Rail system is funded from different sources. You have funded by budgets, developmental loans, private PPP, then you also have all other sources, real estate, capitalization and securitization of the rail assets. The Nigerian rail system is not different from any other part of the world. There is this impression by people that the fare paid by passengers should fund the rail. No. I can boldly say there is hardly any part of the world where the rail system is funded through fares. It is not possible. However, fare system remains one of the sources or the major sources. Also to contribute to that is the freight. Freight is also a huge part of the funding. The issues we have with freight right now is that the longest operating standard gauge is just 380 kilometers. That is the Warri-Itape, and is also not connected to the port. The other line that is above 500 kilometers is the Lagos-Kano line, which is about approximately 1,500 kilometers. However, that line, for some reasons, between Niger and Kaduna, there are issues of movement. And this is even made worse with the flooding issue at Mokwa. However, we are currently moving on that line from Lagos Port. We are moving soda ash, we are moving cement, we are moving gypsum, we are moving a lot of products. We are moving containers, we are moving dry products mainly from Lagos up to Ilorin. Occasionally, we get issues with flooding along the corridor, which we are now working on. We are rehabilitating, and that is what we meant by optimizing what we have. So that is the only corridor beyond 500 kilometers. The hindrance here is when the rail system is not continuously long, the tendency is for the cost benefits not to be realized. So we are working to make that Lagos-Kaduna Kano line available 2026, and that will work for Nigerians. Also, you also fund rail through developmental loans, and that is where all these modernization expenses comes from. The dollar you are referring, dollar expense you are referring to, is also one way. The other way is to go through PPP. So we are also involved in a series of public-private partnership through our track access program. Currently, we have over close to 30 logistics companies that are handling the freight. They are the ones who source for the customers. They bring the customers in, they run and we provide the equipment. So we are not involved in the customer searching for freight. It's left to the private sector. Okay. We've also had two different entities who have logged onto our track access program, and they also run on our corridor. So we have thrown this open to state government, and Lagos State government have taken advantage. Lagos State government currently run on the Lagos-Ibadan corridor, the Lagos Red Line. So also CCC Nigeria is running on the Lagos-Ibadan corridor, and they are moving cargo. And as I speak to you, there are also interest from the milk producers from Kano. We have relationship with Niger State government before the Mokwa flooding. So that is another source, PPP. Then the other sources is to work on our assets. So in 2026, we are now working out to securitize our assets to make sure they bring investment. And I can tell you, in 2025, the gains we got from our assets alone was in the region of about 5 times of what we used to get before. We have been able to move from what we have in 2024, 5 times of that amount, not up to 5. Let me say 4 times of that amount was realized from our real estate assets. And we hope to move in 2026 says to make sure that we take maximum value from our national asset through securitization and reinvestment.
I mean, that sounds very impressive. But let's talk about what I consider the biggest...
on whether it is sustainable,
yes,
whether it is sustainable or not, depends on the direction of the government. And that is why we have created a roadmap. And the roadmap also details other sources of investment, how private sector can be involved. And I know that a lot of people have shown interest for way to invest into the bet. Keep it on your it's good to note that it is highly capital intensive. Return on investment is very low, and that is why the sovereign guarantee by the national government is always required. Once the sovereign guarantee is there, you will see investment in real, and that is what this government is doing with the ongoing reforms in the national economy.
All right. Clearly, you've recorded a lot of improvements, but I mean, it's important for us to talk about what I consider the biggest challenge, the biggest concern Nigerians have when it comes to the railway system, and that's security issue. And I mean, we have to go back to the Abuja-Kaduna rail line, which has experienced so many security challenges. We know the gory situations Nigerians have faced on that route. So what new security measures have been introduced to ensure that increasing trips does not expose passengers to greater risk? And I'm asking this question, I mean, particularly because I really want to know how many armed security personnel or surveillance systems have been deployed per trip compared to before this increase.
Thank you very much. Let me clearly state this, that our rail lines are safe. Abuja-Kaduna train line is safe. Warri-Itakpe is safe. And then the Lagos-Ibadan is safe. Port Harcourt to Aba is safe. So also is the metro corridors, especially in Lagos and Plateau State. Of all the lines we have, the one with the most focused security attention is the Abuja-Kaduna corridor. And when you said a series of security breaches, I'm not aware of anyone since we had that is so serious in the last 2 years. Yes, it is true. In 2022, we had the bomb blast. And that's just to tell you that the rail corridor is not different from other areas of the national system. And since that time, we've not had major breaches on that corridor. That is why even when we have issues on that corridor, you will see the armed forces comes out, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Air Force, you see the vigilante. I would not be able to discuss how deep. And also going forward, we are on the way introducing some electronic system on all our corridors. But what are we doing currently? What we're doing currently on our line is to take from the experiences and we have learned from the Abuja-Kaduna train service to deploy the same situation on the Warri-Itakpe. Those are the two lines that are not within living communities that are right on the outskirts. On the Lagos corridor, we are deploying the same system. But I can tell you, as of today, vandalism continues on the track, not because of security challenges per se, but because the real track, the real materials have some value, and some people believe they can take advantage. And that just became very loud during the COVID-19 era when the train systems was not being used, and people thought the rails would never move again. Communities started taking away the track. But in terms of security, that's vandalism. But when it comes to security, we are not different from any other part of the country. It is not unexpected that there might be issues, but we have not experienced that level of security challenge to make any of our lines unusable. Yes, we had an issue on the Abuja-Kaduna on August 27. It has nothing to do with the security issue. It was an abuse of process by one of our staff who sped beyond the speed limit and busted a point that caused the train to derail. On the Warri-Itakpe too, yes, when we had the November 1 and November 8, there was a result of vandalized tracks, people who came in to see, but upon investigation, we have not been able to link this with any security breaches. They are pure vandalism, and I can tell you the people that were involved in the one between Agbo and Abraka, that is on the Warri Itakpe. There were eventually 2 people were apprehended. They were taken to court. We got a 2-year jail term for them. Is that good enough? Is that what they deserve? We cannot decide. That is a decision for the court system. And on the Abuja-Kaduna one, to be specific, if you go on that corridor, if you are very observant looking from your windows, you will see high security system. Now, on the train itself, we have security personnel working on the train based on what we have learned from past experiences. We are doing all we can do, and there are also technology involved. When a train moves from Abuja to Kaduna, we see the train right in our control room. Okay. We can monitor the movement. We see all 360, front, back, and the 2 sides of the train. And we also have cameras within a train as we speak. And I can also tell you the Lagos-Ibadan and the Abuja-Kaduna train. All right.
So, Dr. Opeifa, for what you have done tonight is that you have confidently assured Nigerians that rail travel is safer today than it was 3 years ago. What you have done is that, I mean, for someone like you who has never been on a train, I can trust your words for it, because tonight you have told me that rail travel is safer. Is that it?
Absolutely.
All right.
All over the world is safer in terms of accident, and I can tell you, riding on a train is safe, and it's safer than it was 3 years ago.
All right. Let's talk about rail infrastructure vandalism, which keeps recurring across Nigeria. Since you assumed office, what has changed? How far have you gone in taming this challenge?
This is a major issue for us to handle. The vandalism continues, is reducing, but it has not abated. And we can only keep doing what we need to do. But let me appeal to Nigerians. Rail materials and the railway materials are not scrap. People should stop looking for rail materials, calling them they want scrap. Anybody looking for scrap materials from the rail sector is definitely not working in the interest of this nation. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not working in the interest of this nation. So what we have done on this, we have declared a zero tolerance with our staff. We have gotten a consultant who had gathered all the stolen ones. We have gone into the bushes to pull them out where they are hidden. We are working with the Nigerian police seriously. Nigerian police and the civil defense, they have done a fantastic job, and they have been able to. And we have also controlled the system to such an extent, to the best of our ability, I must say, to such an extent that Nigerian police officers on the road now identify the way these materials are being transported. They will pack the iron in a truck, and they will put poultry feces in bags on top of this material. The issues we have in this area is the judiciary. We have somebody who had been apprehended. We go to court, they will give the person 100,000 fine, say the vehicle can go its own way, and they should remove the material, hand it over to the Nigerian Railway Police Command, and 2 days or 3 days after, you see the same truck on the road with some of our materials. That happened in Jos recently. A vehicle that was discharged, that was asked to be released, but to drop the material, was found on the road 3 days after in an accident with all the materials scattered on the road. We have also seen situations where we go to magistrate courts, especially in the inner town, outskirts of in many states, where they will just give, say, 2 months imprisonment. Sometimes they say 50,000 naira. Sometimes they say 100,000. We are appealing to the judiciary to please treat this as economic saboteurs. There are laws that can handle this, but not, if you look at that trend, it clearly tells you there are some syndicates behind this, both local and international syndicates. I went on a trading workshop in Saudi Arabia after making my presentation. A lot of people came out to talk to me. You would think they would be talking to me about how to move. Many of them are talking to me about scrap metals and scrap aluminum. They say, oh, you guys got a lot of it in Nigeria. I said, what? Is that what came here to discuss? So you have that situation. And also, When 20 people calls you for investment, that you see about 10 of them are talking about your railway materials. So railway materials are not scrap, even though it is described as scrap. It is described as scrap only when it becomes unserviceable and we don't need it.
All right.
Or when it is serviceable and we don't need it. So our materials are not scrap. We are appealing to Nigerians, the iron melting companies, to please desist from this. We are appealing to the security operatives to please support us in this campaign. And we are appealing to the judiciary not to let them go free.
All right. Dr. Opeifa, let's stay on this because, you know, my next question would have been, who should Nigerians hold responsible when rail infrastructure is vandalized? Is it the security agencies, the railway operators? But when you mentioned the judiciary, I was shocked. Please, I want you to be very specific. Why should anyone blame the judiciary for this? Are you saying there must be stiffer penalty for those who vandalize our railway infrastructure?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not holding the judiciary responsible. I've only mentioned major stakeholders in dealing with the issue. And that's why, for example, we got 2 years imprisonment. That's good enough. Okay. At least we're making progress. But you also have, around the same period, a situation where it is said that the owner of the vehicle should go with the vehicle, where the materials should be dropped. And the same vehicle we now see on the road with the materials in an accident. What if there was no accident? So I'm speaking from experience, what we have seen. Not in the high courts. You see this in magistrate courts. And that is why we also are meeting with people in the judiciary. I've only mentioned it. I also mentioned the police. I mentioned the civil defense. And the next level of people are our own people, our staff, the community, the chiefs. It's everybody. All Nigerians should be held responsible because these are national assets. We are not singling out any particular sector, and I don't want to be misquoted. The judiciary are doing a great job for us. However, we have mentioned instances where we think they can do more. There are other parts of the law beyond the law that applies to Nigerian Railway. There can be the economic sabotage law, miscellaneous offense. There are so many other parts we believe that can be used. And the Office of the National Security Advisor and the national government have declared rail asset as critical national asset. So what we are pleading is every agency that has to do with security, enforcement, law enforcement, judiciary, whatever, should please, when these matters appear before them, to treat it as national critical asset. And that's why I mentioned the civil defense. They've been fantastic under the current leadership. The Nigerian police under the past IG, fantastic. And I believe the new one would do the same, going by his background in investigation and enforcement. So also, we also want to mention that the man of war are also helping us in this regard. We've seen communities helping us. We have seen communities partaking in removing some of these assets. We had one recently. I think that should be in somewhere in the North Central. That's where we have the war situation, North Central and the Northeast. A war track was removed. At least people are there seeing it. Somebody must have seen it. So we're also appealing, when you see something, say something. We are available. Once this happened, the police will move in, the civil defense will move in. And where this had happened, we've seen this in Ede, in Osun State. It happened, people called us, and immediately we moved in, the police moved in. The guys were apprehended, they were sentenced to jail. So if people, we can't be everywhere. Even though we have linesmen who are supposed to man this trial, we have also the people we call the gangers. Sometimes these things are done at night, and they happen in communities. We are appealing to these communities to work with us, partner with us. If they see something, say something.
All right.
That's the point we are making. So we are not singling out anybody.
But from your years of experience as a transport administrator, Dr. Opeifa, do you agree with those who say vandalism happens because host communities feel disconnected from rail projects?
Probably. It might be some of the reasons. I think it's more because we are not running as many trains as we used to run times ago. And that is why we have now decided to resuscitate all old lines. And the new lines we have newly constructed, we have decided to put the vigilante we recruit now up from the host communities. I'll give you a good example. For Lagos, Abuja-Kaduna, and what do you call it? Warri Itape. For Warri Itape, We have people from Kogi manning Kogi axis. You have people from Edo State manning the Edo axis, and you have people from Delta manning the Delta axis. On the Abuja-Kaduna is the various communities along the corridor that are manning each area. Same thing for the Lagos axis. On the Port Harcourt-Aba axis, we've not been having vandalism up to Aba, but the moment you pass Aba on the old narrow gauge, you have vandalism up to that because the train is not running. So what we hope to do, one, in the next 5 years, we are going to start working on electrifying the tracks. So, and that's part of the modernization program. That will reduce vandalism.
So
the next thing we will do...
Okay. Please go ahead, sir.
Go ahead. Okay, we will electrify, we start electrifying the tracks, then we will also illuminate the corridor so as to make it. Then we are deploying technology that can readily carry out surveillance, and we are also going to put a alert system on the corridor. That is in the offering, and very soon, we may conclude on that very soon, and that will also reduce. You know, and in terms of people who work on our corridor, when we do recruitment, the people who recruit for Ganga and lensmen, that is the people who watch the tracks, are always from the community. But if the track is far in the bush, and you also have to find a way to get the people there, the workers. In some areas, it is in the rocky areas. We are working hard to make sure. I hope we have some video clips to show you. We now have vigilante on the entire stretch of the Warri Itape. We have them also on the Abuja-Kaduna. We have them on the Lagos map. You will not see them 100%. They are there. And they give us report every day. And the rate of vandalism on those tracks, we have used them, have reduced. Drastically have reduced.
All right then, because I'm happy you mentioned that, because there are those talking about a dedicated security network to man our railway system. But quickly, you know, someone watching this live on YouTube has a question for you, Dr. Opeifa. I think it's a statement, but I feel it's important that you say one or two things about it. It says, until the Nigerian government builds the east-west railway line passing through Lagos, Benin, Onitsha, Owerri, Aba, Port Harcourt to Calabar, we are just scratching the surface of the Nigerian railway sector. Another important line is the Lagos-Abuja and Port Harcourt-Abuja. These are lines that will bring economic relief and make positive impact in the lives of Nigerians. Now, what do you have to say to this person and others asking the same question?
Yeah, let me just assure the person who posted the question that the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri line is undergoing reconstruction. We have gone as far as Aba, and we're on our way to Enugu. And from Enugu, we are going through Makurdi to Maiduguri. There is no line that connects the east and the west line on the southern part. But this government has also proposed a new line that will take off from the Lekki corridor, Lekki Deep Sea Port, and on the left flank, we go to Kajola to join the Western Standard Gauge, the one that is coming from Lagos, Ibadan, that is going to Kano. And on the right flank is going to go through Benin, Onitsha, and to join the Port Harcourt-Aba. That also will be a standard gauge. There is also another line that will go right away from the Lekki Deep Sea Port, also going straight to Maiduguri. We pass through some states in the southeast, and north central, and then so there is no part of Nigeria that is not currently having rail system on. The clamor from the southeast on the rail system is because when we wanted to reconstruct in the past administration, when we wanted to reconstruct the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri, the entire line up to Enugu was removed, and that created a vacuum. But we thank God, this administration completed and has started operating the Port Harcourt-Aba. They are also complaining about not having a standard gauge, and the response to that is to let them know. For intra-city rail, what will be the difference will be speed, and there will be no difference whether it is standard or narrow gauge, because you will still not need a speed above 80 kilometers per hour, which the narrow gauge on Port Harcourt-Aba currently gives. And the government is also moving the Port Harcourt end to Onne Port, so as to complete what the person who read the question wants to know about. So I want to assure you, there is plan to extend it to Onne Port, and there is plan to take it from Aba to Enugu. The President, the Commander-in-Chief officer, has made this clear himself when he made the stakeholders from the Southeast very early in this, and that is still going on. Then on the connection between Lagos and Port Harcourt, I've mentioned there is a line for that purpose. As of today, we have a roadmap, a master plan for rail infrastructure delivery at the national level that currently address at least the 36 states and FCT. Now, there is also the Regional Development Commission. We have had meetings with the Southeast Developmental Commission, and there is plan also by the Southeast Development Commission to work with the states and get federal lines to connect through the existing lines for all the states. And also to note that the central line that moves from Warri, that goes all the way to Abuja-Kaduna and Itakwe, is serving more of the people of the South than even the North Central of Kogi and other states that it passed through. The people that move from Abuja, using that line, they move by Abuja by road to Itakwe or Abuja-Kaduna, and they find their way to Warri. From Warri, they connect to Bayelsa.
All right, then.
So there is no part of Nigeria that is excluded.
All right.
Every part of Nigeria has a real project that suits their need.
All right, then. Sadly, we're out of time, but I'm hopeful that this conversation continues subsequently so that Nigerians can have the updates they need when it comes to the NRC. Thank you so much for speaking with me tonight. I've been speaking with Dr. Opeifa, Managing Director, Nigerian Railway Corporation. Thank you very much for speaking with me, sir, and we wish you all the best. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for watching, everyone. It marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I'm Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow.